Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and today we are taking a look at this really cool 1983 Fender Stratocaster from the Dan Smith era, as people might call it, 1983 being. A model from an interesting time in history for Fender with some unique features. Maybe you can already tell that we are indeed dealing with some rather unique type of features and appointments that you do not find on most models. So yeah, let's dive into the specs. So we are dealing with an alder body, obviously done in this black finish paired with that black pickguard, done in an all polyurethane type of a finish, which they also did, by the way, in the 1970s, I believe. So you do not really get any sort of an aging that you would like see from like the 1960s or like even the 1950s, because that would then be like a nitro lacquer type of a finish. On the neck we do got some aging, mainly like around the fingerboard edges and also a little bit on the fingerboard itself, but also not all that much because of that polyurethane type of a finish. We've just got your 3 pickups, so pretty like normal, which are then of this era, so basically just Fender Stratocaster pickups that were like the standards back in those days. Interesting trem, because if I flip it over, it's totally blank. No routing whatsoever, and not even like holes for like the strings, because this being from the Dan Smith era, we've got a new trem type of a system. This is called the Freeflyte tremolo, which is totally top routed, and it actually goes underneath the pickguard. I'm actually looking at a certain drawing, like design drawing, if you will, from like those days, and it kind of like then shows the trem obviously then being on top, and then like the springs being installed into the body underneath the bridge pickup. Very short springs from what I can tell, and it is yeah, it is totally different compared to like what you would see obviously in the earlier days, but very typical of that era. The Dan Smith era is kind of like known for being like more cost saving and then this trem is also then part of that whole process and that whole type of a style, because you then didn't need to route out the back, and they didn't have to make like any sort of a back cavity cover. Also didn't like need to drill the screws in and stuff. Like all of these like small things that like do stack up. So in order to save costs, because in this time and era, when it comes to Fender, they were kind of like struggling. Fenders were then also being built in Japan, and those were just being, those were basically just better than their US models. So then Dan Smith was brought on into Fender, and he really kind of like attempted to turn things around, and then cutting down on costs was one of his things to do in that time. So resulting in then a totally unique trem. Moving on to the controls, maybe you can also tell a major difference, but we just have 2 knobs. And we do not have a input jack over here on the front, which would normally obviously be located right over here. But instead it is located over here, where normally you would find a tone control. So normally you'd have 2 tone controls, but now you have 1. So you just have a master volume and a master tone control, and then your input jack over here. Also done in order to save up on costs. So that is also like an interesting and kind of like a telltale sign that we are dealing with a model from the early 1980s, from the Dan Smith era. We do get a 5-way switch, so that is kind of like relatively new for this time in history, because up until like the late 1970s, I believe, you then still get like the 3-way switch, but at this time at Fender, they decided to give their models the 5-way switch when it comes to the Fender Stratocaster. So you just get like all of the tones that you can also then get with new modern models. Again, with the black pickguard, multiply material, got a maple neck, with kind of like almost kind of like a soft V profile, but it is not like as big, if you will, as you would find on a lot of like soft V necks made by Fender. So it's kind of like a slim size or like a medium size, but you do get a soft V profile. It's actually quite nice feeling and nice playing. We also then got a maple fingerboard, obviously, with then the walnut stripe on the back, the black dots. And what is also kind of unique is that we've got a flatter radius. This is a 12-inch radius, so that is very unorthodox for Fender, especially in this time and era, because normally you'd even up until like late 1970s, early 1980s, you would then still get like the vintage style radius, which was 7¼ inches. So this is a lot flatter than that. So really well playing for the more modern player of that time even. Also like early 1980s, you get like a lot of hard rock, hair metal even. So bending is no problem on this model whatsoever. Got the original frets, and again, you do got some wear over there on the fingerboard as well as on the fingerboard edges. But it is in a relatively nice condition. And then we've got what appears to be the original nut, which appears to be made out of some sort of a bone material, maybe a bone alternative, but it definitely looks to be bone colored, if you will. You do then also got your truss rod axis over there on the front of the headstock, which was also kind of like newly introduced in the early 1980s, as opposed to always having it over here on the end of your neck, which is a little bit hard to get to. And then you've got your Fender headstock, obviously, with your decal. And then you've got your Fender die-cast tuners, which I'm not 100% sure if they are original or not. Because they do kind of like look modern in style. Like there are models that get these type of tuners that are kind of like done in a similar way, or like made in a similar way, than being a little bit boxy like this, a little bit square. But these could also very well be like the first versions of those. I am guessing that these are the original, because I do not see any sort of marks or any sort of indicators of these being changed at all. Not even like on the face of the headstock. So I'm just going to go on a limb and say that these are indeed original. Oh yeah, and then also what I forgot to mention actually is that we do then get the return of the 4-bolt construction for the neck attachment. So instead of the 3 screws, you just get the 4 screws, and also then your neck tilt adjustment hole over here. And then the last thing to mention, it also comes with its original hard shell case, which is very nice to see, obviously. So you really got the full package for this very cool model. It actually plays and sounds really, really nice. But yeah, it is definitely a very historically interesting model to say the least. But again, still plays and sounds really, really nice, and just plays and sounds like a Fender Stratocaster. So that is the utmost important thing, if you ask me. So yeah, let's get to that part and hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in this 1983 Fender Stratocaster from the Dan Smith era in this black finish, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of cool electric guitars like these, cool acoustics, bass guitars, even of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on the socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all of that being said, let's hear what this Dan Smith era Fender Stratocaster sounds like. I'm going to be playing it through the 1966 Marshall JTM 45 Bluesbreaker style amplifier. First we'll be playing with the clean tones, and then I'll be playing with the dirty tones, for which I'll be using a clone, a real clone. So let's get to that part and hear what this model from 1983 sounds like.